What's good, YouTube? It's your boy on me, Purple Doing in the shades on, so you know nothing wrong. But happy Wednesday, middle of the week, man, and you know why I'm here. Well, you saw the title of the video, so you know why I'm here. But yeah, man, shout out TierZoo. I love these videos, man. These are my favorite videos. I wake up and I see that notification. I'm like, man, you know, I gotta watch it. I gotta watch it. So yeah, I'm not gonna talk too much, but as always, like, comment, and subscribe. Check out my other videos. I've been reacting to a lot of stuff, so yeah, just kind of been doing my thing on here. Nothing too crazy, but yeah. So today we got Camels, our Camels OP. Our Camels OP. I don't know. I feel like one reason they're OP is because they don't need to drink a lot of water. Excuse me, but yeah, I don't think they need to drink a lot of water, so I feel like that's one reason why they might be OP. They don't really have like, I feel like their intelligence, strength stats and stuff aren't that high, but their durability has to be like S tier. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Yeet.
Camels are one of the most unorthodox builds in the game. In the right conditions, their combination of unique abilities and special set of elemental resistances makes for a shockingly effective strategy. But overall, where do camels rank on the tier list? Is their weird shape and odd skill set actually overpowered, or is their current player base carried by their human allies? Today we'll discuss the history, stats, and abilities of the camel, and ultimately decide. We'll begin with the origin of the camel. Camels first began rising in the meta at a time when a lot of mammalian herbivore builds were really taking off. Some of these herbivores spec'd into an ability called Rumination to gain bonus XP from the newly buffed grass spawn rates.
Okay, but my question is, what came first, camels or horses? Or are they like the same type of species and then they just broke off? You know what I mean?
Some herbivores spec'd into more powerful PvP abilities, like keratinized horns and armor, in order to remain more well defended when out in the open.
Damn.
The camel, by contrast, took neither of these paths. Because they could not digest grass, they instead needed to spec into abilities which would allow them to survive the frequent long treks between an ever-decreasing supply of nutritious tree leaves. So what are the camel's most important abilities? The most obvious one is their hump. The hump serves multiple purposes. Primarily, it's used as a site for fat storage, functioning as an energy reserve, which allows camels to survive
And you know what's crazy? It's a Wednesday too. Hump day. Isn't hump day on Wednesday? I think so. What was that commercial even from? Was that a Geico commercial? I don't know.
Long journeys without access to food. With a maxed out fat reserve, camel players can ignore hunger damage for several months as they search for new spots to forage. But in addition to providing starvation resistance, allocating all the camel's body fat to one spot gives them excellent heat resistance by allowing for extremely efficient heat exchange everywhere else on the surface of the camel's body. Now, of course, this ability does come at a cost. The hump is an awkward and cumbersome load to bear, weighing the camel down and making its movement a lot more wobbly and top-heavy while running. Definitely not an ability you could just throw onto any other herbivore build and see benefit from. You need to have other abilities to help mitigate the weaknesses the hump incurs.
Oh
so
my
what other abilities does the camel have? The second main ability is the camel's feet pads. Rather than walking on hooved toes like most other herbivores, camels spec into large padded feet. Now, normally when a player spends their evolution points unlocking padded feet, they're doing so in order to mask the sound of their steps and buff their stealth stat. While it does technically offer a small stealth bonus, something as tall as a camel is not going to be very successful at hiding. Instead, similar to the hump, this ability protects camels from the stress and chip damage most players would accrue when walking for.
So it's like they made padded feet just so they could walk longer distances. That's what I'm thinking. Well, that's what I'm getting from what he just said. So yeah.
Such long distances. It also spreads out their weight, preventing them from sinking into whatever surface they're standing on. This is especially important when traversing sandy or snowy environments, as it negates the movement penalties from this sort of terrain. Camels have a few other minor abilities as well. Their sickle-shaped blood cells make them more resistant to dehydration, and their tough, leathery mouth negates puncture damage, allowing the camel to be one of the few builds able to eat cacti without being hurt by their spines.
Wow.
A lot of players are under the impression that camels possess a powerful spitting ranged attack, similar to the cobra or archerfish, Unfortunately, no, there's not really anything particularly threatening about the camel's spit, nor do they actually employ this
What was he
skill in
even
combat.
eating?
They may vomit when threatened, but this is usually just a result of stress, not a defensive ability. That's not to say the camel
Ew, is that their tongue? Nigga, that looked like a I don't even know.
Camel's
It
mouth
looked
isn't
weird.
dangerous, though. In addition to their tough, leathery palate, one of the things that sets camels apart from other herbivores is that their teeth can actually deal serious damage.
Oh my
And
god.
with a neck as long, powerful, and flexible as the camel's, there's not many angles you could attack a camel from without risking a nasty bite counterattack. Camels can also attack with their kicks, although their padded feet won't deal as much damage as, say, the sharp hooves of a zebra or giraffe. Anyway, those are the main abilities of the camel build.
Okay.
Next, let's look at the camel's stats. And quick
Oh wait. I gotta look at these
those are
stats
the
real
main
quick.
abilities of the camel build. Next, let's look at the camel's stats.
Mobility is high. What is that? Perception? I feel like their HP should be higher if I'm their HP and defense should be higher to me. I don't know. But looking at it right now, it's a very good overall well-rounded build.
And quick note, I should mention that there are two variations of camel, the dromedary and Bactrian. Their most apparent difference is that the dromedary has one hump while the Bactrian has two. But honestly, the more important difference is in their base stats. Bactrians are larger, more powerful, and better adapted to the cold. The dromedary is smaller but slightly more agile and better suited for extreme heat. Camels have slightly above average intelligence, necessary for them to be able to remember the long routes that they travel on. As mentioned earlier, camels do have a more damaging bite than most herbivores. But compared to the damage large herbivores can dish out using their tusks or horns, they still fall short. Their defenses are quite strong, especially when it comes to elemental resistances.
Right.
But on top of those, the camel's height makes it very difficult for predators to land an attack on them.
Yeah, because, you know, we're talking in video games terms, you know, they're very tall, so it's hard to get like a critical hit on them. And they have a lot of fur and stuff too, so most of their, you know, their body is gonna be protected. So yeah, I think for the terrain that they're in, camels are for sure S tier.
Thanks to their special terrain movement bonuses, most of the time they don't even need to worry about predators, as no sane player would seriously try to follow them into an inhospitable desert. But even on normal solid ground, the camel's movement speed is pretty decent, albeit kind of awkward. Obviously, even with their padded feet slightly dampening the sound of their steps, their stealth is still abysmal, given that camels are the third tallest land animal after the giraffe and elephant. And lastly, their perception is pretty normal for a mammal, except for the camel's partial immunity to the blindness condition, on account of their long eyelashes, which block incoming sand and dust. This is all well and good, but the question remains, just how viable is this setup really? Is the camel just another build completely carried by humanity? So the camel is actually one of the more recent additions to the humans' party, with domestication being unlocked during the mid to late Bronze Age, well after dogs, cats, and...
Cause I mean, like, yeah, you can't go through. There's no way you can travel through the desert really without a camel. Like either you're riding it or you're putting, you know, more stuff on it, you know, to transport more stuff. So I understand why it's a fairly new addition to, you know, a human wanted to use it. Cause yeah, like to cross the desert, you need a camel, bruh. You're not gonna make it without a camel.
Horses had already formed alliances with humanity, and it was with the last one, horses, that camels were competing with for the spot on the team.
Right.
As both horses and camels are useful to function as a mount. Horses are the faster mount, and in a lot of scenarios, that's truly all that matters. In Bronze Age human versus human PvP, being able to outmaneuver and flank their enemies was one of the most important factors in securing victory. But for just about everything else, camels were far more reliable.
Right.
Camels have a higher equipment load, meaning they can carry much more cargo. They have higher vitality and defense, and thus can carry human players a much further distance in much worse conditions. And of course, the fact that they are not impeded by difficult terrain is a huge perk for choosing the camel. It's for this reason that as humanity began transitioning away from a nomadic raiding playstyle and towards Bronze Age palace-based economies, having a mount that could carry goods across the vast desert between empires was of vital importance.
Okay, I'm sorry for pausing so much, but yeah, man, like I just said, like if you're not fighting somebody, but you need to cross the desert or something, a camel is better than a horse 10 times out of 10. Camels are stronger than horses. They can carry more. They can last longer. You don't need to feed them as much. They have way more stamina. And yeah, I like camels. I didn't know I like camels this much, but now that I think about it, camels are a very practical, creature that that humans could use. And subscribe, please. Subscribe.
Camels were the only viable option for humans to cross the large deserts, like the Outback, Sahara, and Mojave, until humanity unlocked trains on the tech tree. So for a substantial length of time, camels were an integral part of the economy across most of the world. And although railroads have made them obsolete in some servers, when it comes to crossing the desert, they are still genuinely one of the best options. Similar to horses and cattle, the vast majority of camel players are purely opting for the human-focused team combo playstyle. There are only around 1,000 players who are part of the truly wild faction that never joined up with humans.
Wild
Does this
camels
mean
is
without
crazy.
humans, camels would be low-tier trash? I can see why you might jump to that conclusion.
I don't think so.
Despite their immense physical strength, I rated domestic cattle as B tier, in part because without humanity, it's unclear if they could even survive in the wilderness. Honestly, B tier might have even been too generous. But there's no question, when left to fend for themselves in the wilderness, camels not only survive, they thrive. When humanity unlocked the motorized transport tech, many human players kicked out the camel players from their party.
Right.
This happened in America, in the Middle East, and most significantly in Australia.
There's camels in America, in North America. I've never seen. There has to be no wild camels in North America, bro. Like nobody. What deserts are there in North America? The Grand Canyon? Like what deserts do you need for to camels in North America, bro? Just take a flight, my God. Just take a flight.
Now, an invasive mammal succeeding in Australia is really not that big a surprise, but thriving in the outback specifically is undoubtedly impressive.
That's perfect
They
for
must
'em.
contend with one of the other most successful Australian invaders, the dingo. And let's be real, it's not even close to being an even matchup. Being historically from Asia, camels had to contend with everything from lions and leopards to wolves and even tigers. So despite their awkward top-heavy appearance and lack of powerful damage-dealing abilities, their incredible survival skill earns
They're
them
S
the
tier,
rank of
bro.
A
They're
tier.
S tier.
Now,
A?
this video focused
Okay.
specifically on the Bactrian and Dromedary camel, the two builds most players would associate with the word camel. But the camel faction does technically contain two other builds, the llama and alpaca. These belong to the player base of prehistoric
Bro,
camels, which chose to
I never thought about that. Llama and alpacas, they're just like smaller camels, right?
venture south into the South America server, rather than across the Bering Strait and into Asia. Because of their vastly different environments, they obviously spec into different abilities.
Right.
However, a lot of their core features are more or less the same. I have a lot to say about these creatures, mostly that they are the most disgusting, nasty creatures I've ever encountered. Alright, so this ad read is going to take a bit of a different turn than usual, but here's the deal. A few months ago, I got a
Is that
message from
that
team at
TierZoo
Wendover
face?
Production.
Okay, but yeah, man, that's crazy. I'm at the end of the video, I didn't know that, you know, alpacas and llamas were like offspring of camels, but it makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense. But yeah, man, if y'all enjoyed this video, like, comment, subscribe. Check out my other ones, man. As always, shout out to TierZoo. Great video. I love these videos, man. I can't stop. So yeah, y'all be safe, and I'll see y'all next time, man. I'm out. Peace.
Hey, 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 making it flip like I'm doing gymnastics, making it flip like I do acrobatic, I'm money fanatic, my life is fantastic, making it stretch like I'm Mr. Fantastic, she hop on the carpet, Aladdin, my flow need a padding, I'm never subtracting, I get to the money, that shit made me